Hi everyone, it's a Philippines market update. This is Nikki Yu, also known as Anton, and let's discuss this August 11, the news that is moving your stock market. Okay, the very first news is Philippines GDP update. We are ending a recession with 11.8% quarter two growth. This is the end of our longest recession since the 1980s debt crisis as we report a growth. While this may look impressive, this is the fastest in 32 years. The 12% expansion is coming out from what economists are calling low base effects. The second quarter of 2020 was at the height of the pandemic, and the lockdown from mid-March to May bringing two-thirds of the economy to a standstill, resulting in a record 17% decline in GDP. With such a very low base with which to compare the second quarter GDP, economists had already expected a double-digit growth. In fact, the second quarter GDP was 1.3% smaller than the economic output in the first 3 months of 2021, reversing three consecutive quarter-on-quarter gains that the economic team had earlier touted as an indication of recovery. Still, it ended the recession. This is good news, showing that amid the pandemic, taking care of lives to save livelihoods paid off, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said in a press briefing on Tuesday. For Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Carl Chua, the robust performance was driven more than just base effects. It was a result of a better balance between addressing COVID-19 and the need to restore jobs and incomes of the people. Dennis Mapa, the national statistician, told that the industry sector grew by 20.8%, reversing a 21.8% drop a year ago. Services reverted to a 9.6% growth from a 17% decline last year. However, agriculture only reversed their growth of 1.6% to contract 0.1%. The growth in the industry and services is a better management of COVID-19 risks and an easing of quarantine restrictions. On the expenditure side, total investments grew by 75.5%, driven by near doubling of private investments of 95%, indicating growth and improvement in business economy and confidence as economy learns to live with the virus. The NED achieved said that both public and private construction activities posted year-on-year growth alongside the return of household spending to positive territory with a 7% increase. Okay, so there's no telling if this growth is sustainable. Nothing to brag about since this is coming from a base that is down 17% last year. Let's not lose the sight of the fact that we aren't even back to pre-pandemic levels. Post said the Filipino people urgently need the government to spend the tax money on health sector, paying hospitals and healthcare workers, and protecting and creating jobs. Then and only can these growth numbers mean anything. So you could see that the market is still very much seeing that recovery is not to be celebrating about. You can see that most are also predicting that vaccination continues to be key, and there is no indication that people are having it easier economically. If we can also stop Delta in the tracks, avoid the kind of surges Indonesia and other ASEAN neighbors are experiencing, we will perform very strongly. So a fast rollout of COVID-19 vaccines to mitigate the more infectious Delta variant would determine whether we could sustain recovery in second half 2021. We've got to get it right, to be permanently be out of the hole. The slightest uptick in the economy will be magnified precisely because of the base growth being too low. So you are seeing that yeah, so the debt to GDP ratio is not a positive thing to actually celebrate about. The next thing that we have to discuss today is the press release of ASEN. This is the most important disclosure for the day of August 11. AC Energy's 210 megawatt maiden solar farms in India is beginning operations. ASEN and UPC Solar Asia Pacific, through their joint venture, announcing the start of their commercial operations in India. It is a 140 megawatt Sitara Solar and 70 megawatt in Paryap Solar. This is poised for a landmark year, gearing up to start the construction of 420 megawatts more of solar assets in India within the year. In July 2020, UPC ASEN announced start of construction of Sitara Solar, located in Jodhpur district of the state of Rajasthan, a desert state with the highest irradiation in India, supplying energy to the Solar Energy Corporation of India. This is followed closely by the construction of Paragap Solar, a solar farm set in the Amreli district of the state of Gujarat, one of the first states to develop solar generation capacity in the country. This milestone is no small feat given the worsening pandemic situation in India, which has disrupted supply chains. To sustain the plant's development, UPCAC Energy Solar has implemented safety protocols at the site. So the market is actually very much happy with these solar facilities. This is comprised of more than 466,000 solar panels to produce around 358 gigawatt hours annually, or an estimated 323,990 metric tons of carbon dioxide avoided. Well, we can see actually that the market is very bullish on ASEN. ASEN is now trading at 9.22. It is actually trading at all-time highs and is one of the top traded in the Philippine market with 744 million pesos value traded at these higher levels of 9.22. Let's take a look at the index today. So your index is actually trading. Your index is 6,666 points. It is a market value of 6 billion. A lot of companies are actually up, but actually it's not a lot. It's more of unchanged. 81 advancers, 84 decliners, 56 unchanged. Let's take a look at the index movers. The largest mover in the index is SM and SM Prime. SM is 1,008. SM Prime is 35. These are your biggest movers with 27% of your index. Ayala Land with 8% is also up here at 34 peso 20 cents. BDO, which is 6% weight in the market, is also up here about 111. In terms of the large weights in the market, only AC is down, but it's not much down. It is still 745. Now let's take a look at other utilities. Meralco is 281. Your Globe is 2,000. Your PLDT manages to trade at 1251, while your Manila Water is trading at so Manila Water is not in your index. All right. So your utilities, Meralco, Telephone, and Globe are actually very strong here. And you can see that Converge is going to get into the index. So eventually, we'll actually see more utilities in your index. Robinson's Land, you can see properties is still down. Robinson's Land at 16, Megaworld 2.89, except for Ayala Land and SM Prime. The other two properties are still on the negative side. Security Bank 113.6, DMC 588, AGI 989, Bloomberry 584, GTCAP 530, Robinson's Retail 50, URC 134, Emperador 1274, Metrobank 46.7, Jollibee 192, Lucia Time Group 9.8, FGen 27, AED 40, Pure Gold 38, San Miguel Corporation 110, AC 745, BPI 82.6, JG Summit 59, and ICT 180. We are seeing the definitive concentration of the market into the top 5 index components in the market. And that's usually your SMSM Prime, Ali, AC, PDO, which actually is hiding the fact that most of the other issues are actually just unchanged. They're not actually recovering. Let's take a look at your stats. In your top traded names, aside from ASEN and Monde, most of the other companies' shares are actually just down. Take note that ASEN and Converge are actually trading at all-time highs, and Monde is also nearing your all-time highs as a result of an index inclusion. Your ASEN and Converge are going into the index, which is a good thing for the shareholders. And people are surmising, of course, Monde is going to be in the index coming soon. So you could see those 3 non-index movers are trading very huge on the value traded. Meanwhile, most of the top movers are index names, and it's mostly in the unchanged. There's not much movement in your stocks in the Philippines. I think that what you're seeing in the news is that we are still seeing negative effects of a bumpy recovery from the Delta variant, and so even if the market is looking 6,666, we are seeing quite a lot of resistance as we near 7,000. Okay, sorry for my stream. It was choppy a while ago. Okay, so is Costco still in the liquor business? Yes. There's actually news that Costco is gonna shift Montosco into Davin. So we haven't seen the change for Davin, but apparently Costco is gonna shift it to Davin, Da Vinci. But so far it hasn't been finalized. So yun. So far it's still with Costco. Hi Nikki, what are your price projections for ASEAN and Monde? Looks like the market is very confident with ASEAN and Monde. The premiums are actually expensive nowadays. However, I can't give a price target for both of these names as the market is unwilling to actually show any path of resistance here. So as long as it's upwards, you could see that it could hit 9, 10, 11. Now that it's trading at 9.22, these previous resistance of 10.1, although it's the immediate short-term target, can actually be surpassed given the strong milestones achieved by ASEAN. Monde, however, is also here. For Monde, I am not sure if it's going to hit all-time highs because the problem with Monde Nissan is that it has already traveled more than 20% from its IPO, 13.5 to 17. And the nature of the business of Monde Nissan is just a normal consumer staple. So I'm not quite sure if Monde Nissan should be priced expensively as a growth stock when the business is just trading as a consumer staple. Hi, Nikki. Should I wait for DMC until August 16 or buy small portions? For DMCI, which is going to be deleted in the index, some people might actually assume that there will be more selling pressure. However, I think that there is a confident buyer here about 5.5 below. So assuming it's not August 16, but DMCI is trading at 5.5 below, you can start nibbling just like August 9 here, 5.48. Assume we get a retest at 5.48 or any price 550 below, you might see some buyers already start to nibble on DMCI, not because of anything, but they're buying DMCI mostly for the water units and mostly because the conglomerate has a successful cash flow business from Semirara. SCC is still the coal plant. So it's more of the defining what a conglomerate earns, and DMCI still earns some cash flows from their power business. Also, will ASEAN benefit on the Biden infrastructure play? Well, Biden's infrastructure play is just another pledge of a $1 trillion for all companies in the US that are actually generating renewable energy. ASEAN fits into this secular trend, not just about Biden, but also China. So it is a secular trend worldwide to actually shift towards renewable sources. I think it's a positive, but it might not necessarily be positive in the sense that it will benefit from Biden's infrastructure play because Biden is, of course, supporting US firms, not Philippine firms. Nonetheless, it will help the acknowledgement that the world is wanting to pay a premium, and if all the renewable energy companies in the US grow and have an expansion in their multiples, it will affect ASEAN in the sense that solar firms are going to get a higher multiple over the long run. I think it's a long-term positive, but not directly comparable. So that's it. I think for the Philippines, we are seeing that electric vehicles is a long time coming for us, but renewable energy is something that we in the Philippines can actually take part of, which is a good thing for us, even not just in the Philippines, but Southeast Asia. In particular, this is in India. Okay, thank you very much, and let's proceed to our global market update in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye.